Ever since we first looked up at the night sky, we've asked that one big question, you know? The one filled with so much hope and wonder. Are we alone? We've spent decades, literally decades, listening for any little peep, any signal, any sign that someone else is out there. But what if the silence we've been getting back isn't a sign that the universe is empty? What if it's a warning? And that right there, that's the real head-scratcher. I mean, think about it. Our galaxy alone has hundreds of billions of stars. When you do the math, there should be thousands, maybe even millions of planets that could support life. And some of those civilizations, they should be millions of years older than we are. So where is everybody? This question, it actually has a name, and it keeps some of the smartest people on Earth up at night. It's called the Fermi Paradox, and it's brutal. On one hand, the numbers, the sheer probability tells us the galaxy should be humming with life, like a massive cosmic city. But on the other hand, when we point our telescopes out there, all we hear is nothing. Just this complete, deafening silence. Astronomers even have a name for it, the Great Silence. And honestly, it's one of the deepest and most profound mysteries we've ever faced. So how do we even begin to explain this cosmic ghost town? Well, the theories tend to fall into two very, very different camps. And this is where our search for an answer takes a really, really terrifying turn. You've got two completely opposite ways of looking at this. On one side, you've got the optimistic view, which is pretty comforting, right? It says that maybe life is just incredibly rare, or hey, maybe we're the first ones to the party. The silence means we're alone, but we're safe. But the other view, the dark forest theory, argues the exact opposite. It says life is everywhere, and the silence we hear, it isn't emptiness. It's the sound of pure, raw fear. To really wrap your head around this terrifying idea, you gotta throw out everything you think you know about morality and diplomacy and all that human stuff. We have to think in terms of cold, hard, cosmic logic. And this whole theory is built on two simple and incredibly brutal rules. Okay, first things first, and it's the most important. Survival is everything. Before you get to art or philosophy or any ideas about good and evil, a civilization's #1 absolute top priority is just to keep existing. It is the one drive that trumps everything else, period. And rule number 2, civilizations need to grow and expand to survive. That's just what they do. But they live in a universe with a fixed amount of stuff, a finite amount of resources. So you've got exponential growth plus finite resources. Yeah, you don't need to be a galactic genius to know how that equation ends. It always ends in one thing: conflict. So you take those two rules and you put them together. What you get is a universe where being paranoid isn't just a good idea, it is the only rational way to be. The sheer scale of space, the distances involved, makes trust mathematically impossible. It all spirals into what's called a chain of suspicion. Think about it. You're out there and you detect another civilization light years away. Are they friendly? You can't possibly know. They might say they are, but communication takes centuries, even millennia. Could they be lying? And hey, even if you're totally peaceful, how can you prove that to them? You can't. It always leads to the same logical conclusion. The safest move, the only move to guarantee your survival, is to eliminate them before they get a chance to eliminate you. But wait, there's another piece to this puzzle that just pours gasoline all over this fire. And that's the fact that technology doesn't grow in a nice, steady line. It explodes, exponentially. Just look at us. We went from riding horses into battle to wielding nuclear weapons in less than 500 years. On a cosmic scale, that's not even a blink of an eye. And this is the core of the problem. You might stumble upon a civilization that looks pretty primitive, totally harmless. But you can't just leave them be. Why? Because you have no idea what they'll invent in 1,000 years or 10,000 years. Their technology could explode, and they could suddenly become an existential threat to you. So what does that mean? It means there's no such thing as a harmless civilization. Every baby tiger eventually grows up to be a man-eater. And this brings us to the absolutely terrifying heart of the dark forest theory. The universe isn't some empty void waiting for us to explore. No, it's a dark forest at midnight. And every single civilization is an armed hunter, creeping through the trees, holding their breath, trying not to make a single sound. Because in this forest, any sign of life, any snap twig, draws the attention of all the other hunters. And when a hunter sees another living thing, they don't see a potential friend. They only see a threat. and there's only one thing they can do: shoot first. Okay, so if the entire galaxy is playing a deadly game of hide and seek, what have we, humanity, been doing this whole time? Well, we've basically been standing in the middle of a clearing, waving our arms, setting off fireworks, and screaming at the top of our lungs.
For the last century or so, we've just been leaking our existence out into the cosmos. While every other intelligent species out there might be trying to be as quiet as a mouse, we have been a beacon of noise, just naively hoping that someone friendly is out there listening.
I mean, our radio and TV shows have created this ever-expanding bubble of noise screaming out from Earth. But we didn't stop there. Oh no. In 1974, we purposefully beamed the Arecibo message deep into space, which had details about our DNA, our population, and our location. And then we launched the Voyager probes, with what are essentially treasure maps pointing right back to our front door.
You know, the late, great Stephen Hawking put it best. He warned us. He said, if any civilization is advanced enough to actually travel here, they probably aren't going to see us as equals. To them, we might be no more important than bacteria are to us. Their arrival wouldn't be a friendly meet and greet. It would be a colonization.
So what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway from this chilling way of looking at the universe? It basically forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew about our place in the cosmos. The terrifying conclusion of the dark forest theory is this: the Great Silence isn't some big mystery about a lack of life. It's the solution to a horrifying problem. It's the sound of billions of voices choosing to be quiet just to survive. It is the shared, unbearable tension of a forest packed with hunters, and every single one is praying they're not the one who gets found. So the dark forest theory basically says that we have made a terrible, terrible, naive mistake. We've built a big, bright, warm campfire in the middle of the woods, and we've started singing songs, announcing our location to every predator hiding in the shadows. And that just leaves us with one final, terrifying question to think about the next time you look up at those stars. Now that we've made all this noise, what's going to come crawling out of the dark?